It's time for a new video, and this week I have my dear friend and a fellow citizen, Sophia, with me. I'm glad that she accepted my invitation, and I want to welcome her to my Liminal World. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be able to sit down and chat with you. I'm really excited about this, Natasha. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad we gathered and we finally find time to meet and talk a little bit. First, I want to introduce you. And I will just say a few words. I met Sophia when I was buying my first real estate, and she was my agent. We met by chance. So it was unexpected. She came into my life pretty much out of nowhere. And I was so glad after I got into the process of buying, I was so glad that I have her on my side, because the process was very tough. And not just that I learned a lot about rules and regulations and banks and notaries, but I went through this process in pretty emotional. I was very emotional while I was going. So sometimes when I talk about Sophia, I say, she's not my agent. She was, and she was my doula. And I'm grateful that I had her near me when I was going. I didn't know that that process is that hard, and that I will need someone to address any concerns I had, and be with me when I was making very tough decisions. So thank you so much for that.
I appreciate that. Well, I love what I do, and I was so happy to meet you and your family. I'm so glad you guys have settled in your place and it worked out, because that process can be really stressful, and I get it completely, as you know. Yeah, I deal with it, and I get the emotional side. My speech to my clients is, you might cry a few times, but we'll get you through this.
For the beginning, can you say more words about yourself?
Of course. So I am Sophia Briggs. I am a local realtor here in Victoria, BC, but foremost, I'm a citizen of Victoria. I've grown up in Victoria. I love this city. I have all my family and friends here, and I have a business here. I've never had to leave the island, so I'm a local girl through and through. I love the island lifestyle, and I'm excited to be here today.
Sophia, let's go back to beginning of this 2020. This is very special year. Yes. For the whole planet. How did you react when you hear about Corona?
Well, at first, I think it was kind of hyped up in my mind. I was like, oh, whatever, it's the media. We've never really seen any disease hit the west coast of Canada. I've never experienced it. So to me, I was kind of like, whatever, it's probably not going to hit home. It's not going to affect me. I'm here in Victoria, like no big deal. Obviously that changed very quickly. But I know my husband and I are like, yeah, whatever. We've flown through solid warnings. It's fine. Like life won't change. Clearly life did change for all of us. And I think it all changed about mid-March, and our feelings did turn around that month completely, of course. Like I think March 17th was the day that Justin Trudeau gave that speech, and it was kind of like, okay, we have to take this seriously. What's going on? We sent everybody home. I do have my own office with other realtors, so I do have employees, so everyone just worked from home. We closed the office down, we shut it. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know how long we're closing the office. We didn't know what was going to happen with work. It was very uncertain. However, my husband and I are well traveled, and we're like, it will be okay. Like everything will be okay. Where we live, we're really lucky. We're safe. It will be okay.
So you were in a good place. You were in a good place. And what about people around you? Did you feel anxiety coming your way, or how did people react around you?
Of course, everyone reacted differently. Of course, there are some people still to this day that are nervous and anxious and upset and scared and feared, and everyone has a different reaction, and I totally respect that, and that's completely up to them and there. But yeah, huge shift. I didn't see most of my family for a really long time. Everyone kind of went in self-isolation. I saw my dad a bit because my dad is close by and we help each other out. So I saw my father and I saw Andrew's parents, but we didn't really come into contact with people for about 5-6 weeks, which for my husband and I that was hard. That was hard, not seeing our family. And we worried about like our elders. So my Nana is still very much self-isolating. She has lots of issues with her lungs. So we're very aware of that. We don't see her very often. She's in her condo. We'll drop off wine and say hello, but we keep our space. And we understand that just has to be for right now.
I know you as someone who is very busy, very active, always on the road, always on the phone, always, from one meeting to another. And to be honest, I cannot imagine you being in lockdown. Can you tell me what it's like to be a realtor in a lockdown?
Locking down a realtor in a house, or like my husband and I downsized into an 800 square foot condo. So we downsized this year of COVID. Wasn't the best thing, but we love it. It was interesting, but we stayed busy in our own way. So I was doing some online classes, but I also picked up a lot of hobbies. I bought a brand new bike. We did walking. We were super active. My husband and I kind of reconnected. We talked a lot. We made plans. Of course, there was stress. Like I remember watching the news every day. I'd watch like the 8 a.m. news for like 10 minutes and be like, okay, that's it for today. Like, let's focus on some positive things. But I did stay busy. Like we went on major bike rides. We got a paddleboard. We thought about RVing. We just really shifted to our life to all about lifestyle for that time. And in our mind, we're like, when do we actually get a break from work? Like we don't usually get 5 or 6 or 2 months off of work in our hometown to enjoy it. We got to wander around downtown and walked our dogs because we did have to leave our house to walk our dogs every day. We can't see in the condo. We walked through downtown and no one was there. It was terrifying, but it was absolutely beautiful to see. Like the city landscape of Victoria is gorgeous. So I feel like there were some positive and negatives of staying at home. I'm a positive person. I try to be on the positive side. Of course, after a while, you guys get bored. You want to get back to that life and that rush and go.
What was actually happening with your job? Did you have clients before March 17? And what happened with selling and buying during that lockdown, during those 6 to 7 weeks when you were not working?
So it was interesting. I had a lot of current contracts. So I'd say I had a lot of accepted offers where a client hadn't removed their subjects yet. They still were doing their home inspections, getting their financing, everything. And for us, all our clients were moving forward. They wanted to move into a home. They wanted to be in Victoria. No one had lost their job or had fears of losing their job. So everyone kind of continued. I would say we were dealing with subject removals up until end of March. April was a very quiet month. We still saw a few sales and inquiries. I know I had a lot of investors emailing me, do you think the market's going to go down? What do you think? And I was like, no one's been through a pandemic. I have no clue right now. I can't tell you either way. Obviously today the market didn't go down. We've had the busiest summer we've ever had in Victoria. We were back to seeing multiple offers. So
we will talk about that. We will talk about that. I was at the beginning, I was just concerned about those months when we were stuck and a lot of people were in a fearful mode. Those ones as I was lucky to start just working from home, but a lot of people were in between, not going. So I was thinking, my assumption would be there is no way that anybody would sell or buy in this moment. So I wanted to know what was actually going on behind the scene.
Yeah, I think everybody needs a roof over their head, and it became more important during this time. And people did get sent to work from home, and it was even more important. And I think a lot of people realized, and a lot of my clients at the time were renters. They were paying rent, and buying a home gave them that more control. They were ready to take that step. They were at home more than ever, so they really thought about that.
Interesting.
And I think everyone needs shelter at the end of the day, right? And shelter became our most important thing in 2020. Not only is it an asset, but it's where you kept your family safe.
I was imagining your showings, like your regular day when you were going with the buyer or seller, whatever, and showing the property. And I was like, probably she's doing that online, because we had classes online, we had universities online, we had jobs online, like probably real estate is also doing through some videos. So did you have that? Did you have
for sure. I think real estate was already going to a lot online, and it just became even more important. So we are always doing videos for listings, and we had almost like I call it the dollhouse tour. It's like where you can walk through a house online and kind of turn and look at everything. We were doing that. Most realtors were doing that you can send them a link and kind of walk through the house before they even saw it. And then I haven't personally done a physical open house since this happened, because I don't think having groups of hordes of people through someone's home is probably great right now, but that's just my personal opinion. So those were all done online, which I think were kind of fun, right? Because you could go right now and look at my open house from like 3 months ago. It's online, you can see it anytime. And we got a lot of views, a lot of people messaging, asking us questions about the property. I think it was a good switch. Obviously, the internet grew a lot during this time, and we saw a huge number of people going to our website, searching online before walking through the door. A lot of our clients would see 12 houses online, then look at one and buy that one. So they saw one in person, and they knew that was it, and that was all they needed to see, and they were done.
Did you notice any changes in trends? Like, are people still interested in more in houses than apartments? What happened in that way?
That's what we're seeing. Most people turn to homes. A lot of people are like, oh, I want a home with big property now too. So they're upsizing, especially if you have kids and you're trying to like do online schooling. You need that office space school. They're looking for more space, which is different because we saw the trend of, just like my husband and I, we went into a condo because we were like, we don't want to do the gardening on the weekend. It's like lifestyle. We saw that switch. We are seeing a trend where 1-bedroom condos are super popular. So our first time buyers are getting into the market quite a bit still too, which is good. They're confident with the market and they're making that switch from renting to owning something themselves and paying themselves essentially, opposed to paying a landlord. So I think there's some good trends. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Another big trend is our multi-million-dollar properties are selling. It's the ultra high-end in Victoria is moving. And it's interesting to see the money that is coming to Victoria. In my mind, it's, a lot of people, some people are excited and seeing showings or buying in the higher end market, and they're moving to the island to retire early or for safety. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what the next year holds for Victoria for our market.
Who are the people who are coming or leaving Victoria? Like, I just want to ask, like, do you have any interesting story to share, maybe?
Yeah, I have lots of interesting stories to share. We are seeing a huge influx of other Canadians moving here, and it's like lots of clients are coming out for house shopping trips to Victoria, and they are bringing their whole family. Like, we've had clients that came from Toronto, came to buy a house here, bought a beautiful house. Their son already lives on the island. They took early retirement. Their daughter with their other grandkids are coming to move here. And it was like complete 360 lifestyle change for them. They are professionals, business owners, did really well. And COVID gave them time to think what was important. And that was family. And it's interesting to see the core values that are coming out on people. And it's amazing. Like, they were so excited to be here on the island, to have their family move here, get out of the busy city, which I think is a trend. Sorry, the big cities, but it's a trend. They don't want to be in the big city anymore. They want to relax. They want to be near family. They don't want to work 90 hours a week. They want to slow down and enjoy life. And it's great to see. And it's a great to experience the joy of a family really doing that, like being there and helping them find that home.
Yeah, no, it's I like hearing this, because usually major crises are either putting people in that situation of like my life is ruined, or I cannot hold to anything. I'm experiencing loss. Like people are either in that mindset, or I'm reassessing everything, all of my, like whole my life, and I'm setting up new goals, new priorities, new values. So in a sense, real estate was following that mindset, like either or. Either people were, I know a lot of people who actually end up leaving Victoria, but those were mostly renters, like they end up leaving. But as you said, a lot of people came because they decided to shift the lifestyle. Like we're not waiting. Now is the time.
Now is now. Yeah, it's interesting. I find with crisis, you can pivot in the positive and learn. It's actually interesting if you go back to our market correction in 2008, which was a bad year for real estate and financials everywhere. Some of the biggest companies have come out of the hardest times. And me as a person, I try to remember, like, even if it's negative, we can pivot and be in the positive. And I always remember, I live in Canada. I can do anything I want here. We are not held back at all where I live. I can have anything I want. I can do anything I want. I'm safe. I'm secure. And I remind myself, because I'm well-traveled with the globe, I've been to countries that I wouldn't have that. And I'm thankful that I do live here. Like, I have to remind myself, I literally can be whoever. If I want to be a doctor, I can go back to school. If I want to be a lawyer, I can go back to school. Like, there's no limit here in Canada. I can do anything I want. And I think I remind myself that daily, that I don't want to be on the negative because I live in such a positive place in the world. And that's just me personally. That's just my mindset.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I know a lot of people, me as well. You know, I'm in that group. I always planned to do some videos, and I wanted to talk with people and share some experiences and how they went through some experience. And I was always like postponing. Oh, there is always time. And then this situation gave me that push, like now is the time. And you can do whatever you want. Just turn around. You are, as you said, living in a place where you can start over every single day. I would love to, if you can walk me through your regular day, especially if your like days in this COVID are different than the days that were before March. So can you walk me? I want to imagine what it's like to be a realtor nowadays.
Yeah. Now in the current days, yes. So I've been doing this 14 years, and I've set up habits, and I work quite a bit. So my day usually starts at 6 a.m. I will take a bit of time for myself, and then I am into answering emails or clients' questions by about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Because I do work with people that aren't in our time zone, I usually will wake up to a bunch of emails, questions about properties or whatnot that I need to answer before I get to the office. I do have a physical office. I do like the routine of going into my office. So if I am not doing showings by 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm at my office, because there's selling houses and showing properties, but there's a ton of marketing and back work into real estate as well. I could spend 40 hours a week marketing. I'm lucky enough to have a full-time assistant to help me. So my day, if I am not with clients in the beginning of the day, and some days they are, I am at the office and I'm going through our website, SEO, Google AdWords, Google Business. I am thinking of ideas. What should we do for clients for Halloween? Halloween's coming up, Christmas cards, touching base with clients. Most of the time we do have showings and seeing clients every day. So a busy day, like on Friday, I had 5 sets of clients that I saw. I had certain homes I had to show in a timely manner. Then I had to do a listing appointment, and sometimes my day runs into the evening. Like I won't get home till about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, even though I am home. My husband will hate this. Sometimes I'll be working till midnight. Because sometimes contracts do have a timeline and you're negotiating until midnight. So my work day it's not the average day. I could start being going, okay, I have a half day of work with clients and then I have a half day of marketing. That could turn into a 12-hour day of contracts and negotiating quite quickly, especially in our busy market right now. It can be quite intense as we are seeing multiple offers. So when you have multiple offers, you have to get that contract in quick. You have to make sure due diligence is done. There's a lot of questions your clients have. And then you have to make sure it's done correctly. You want your contracts done correctly. So they're legally binding. So my day can go from starting out as a regular work day to ending up being a 12, 14-hour day for me easily.
Now, when you were talking, I went back on the day when I was buying, and I remember how many messages and how many emails I sent to you, and I asked questions. And I was very emotional, especially because I had to read through strata and then to make tough decisions about insurance, whether we will do it, no, what is happening, what are the predictions. And now when I'm thinking about that, did you have any specific questions during COVID? You know, when you were like trying to make, try to sell or try to buy, how did you actually, not push, but how did you hold the space for your clients who I'm guessing they had special questions or concerns?
Clients always have a lot of questions. There's always everything. But it's interesting with COVID. I think the question I get in even 14 years in business is, what do you think the market will do? Do you think, like everyone talks about this bubble, is Victoria in a bubble? Is it going to crash? Are we going to see this? We haven't really seen a crash here. Real estate does trend upwards. Now, it's interesting into COVID where some people thought our prices would drop, but they didn't. But we've also seen the rental rates go up. So a lot of like the questions, especially for first-time buyers, they go, what should I do? I go, I personally, as a realtor, pay yourself, not the landlord. I am a landlord. Like I'm literally taking your money and using it for an asset buy down. You should be that person. Like it doesn't matter what time, just jump into the market now, even if it drops a little bit, as long as you can hang on, you'll be fine. I haven't seen a real dip. We had a brief dip in 2008, 2009, but the market came back up quite quickly and quite fast. So our questions, I think our questions now are more about lifestyle. People aren't worried about the price points. They want a certain lifestyle, which is interesting. They're willing to pay for the lifestyle. And live on the island where it's slower, or I want to be on waterfront now. People are making those jumps and they're not worrying. Of course, some people, of course it's in their mind because the values are high here if the market's going to go down, but it's more about lifestyle than it ever has before in Victoria.
Let's talk about Victorian lifestyle. Just a bit. So what would you say? I can share my point of view and then you can add. For example, we are spending a lot of time outside. We're spending a lot of time on beaches. We are walking a lot. There is a lot of parks. There is a lot of water sports. People are people are from the youngest age to the seniors are very active. They love family gatherings. The community is pretty tight. Come on, add. Add more.
I would say Victoria is a huge outdoor lifestyle. I think if you're coming here for water sports, you can even get surfing in Tofino. I think it's just the stuff I do. We're hiking, we're out walking, we're bike riding. We have the Galloping Goose Trail, the Lochside Trail. The bike system downtown, as much as people like to complain, is awesome. I've been to Montreal where they have that great bike system. Victoria is getting there, and I think it's fantastic to see. I live close to the downtown core, so I love that lifestyle. I am walking to restaurants and seeing people and connecting with neighbors and a community. And I love that. I love to be able to wander downtown, go for dinner, walk home, and it's safe. Not only that, but like 40 minutes away, we're out in Souk. You have China Beach, French Beach. Like my husband's just in Port Renfrew camping this weekend. He's having so much fun on the beaches there. I think we're lucky in Victoria. You can still have that outdoor lifestyle, but still a little bit of that city lifestyle without being too crazy. I know personally for me, I don't love the big bustling cities for very long. Couple days good. I like the size of Victoria is nice. You can still have that, go to a show, go for dinner, but you can also be out of the city so quick and be in the outdoors and natures. And it's fantastic.
What I love the most, to be honest, is the fact that people are very approachable. So you have pretty much people from all over the world. Like there are a lot of communities that I haven't been in touch before I came to Victoria, before I moved here. But now I have friends from Asia, from Africa, from South America, from Europe. Like the community sense is it's there. And neighborhoods we have those block street parties and a lot of festivals, which we missed this year. But I'm still hoping that next year will be like as it was before.
I know. I'm hoping too. I'm missing those this year too. That's for sure. I would say my husband and I, being born and raised and never left here, is rare. Most of our friends are not from Victoria, actually, which is funny enough. They're from somewhere else, whether it's in the world or like in Canada, they're from somewhere else. It's Victoria. People come to Victoria because they want to live in Victoria. And I think that makes a difference. Like you said, people are friendly. Walking around downtown, like you could stop and ask anyone a question and they would answer you or say hello or hey, how's it going, and smile. I don't get that cold shoulder kind of community here. I find it very warm and people are friendly and easygoing. It's just, it has a good small town feel, medium city kind of vibe.
Yes. And it's also a port city. So it's transient. There is a lot of people going, moving, and just passing through the city, which is also giving specific vibe to the whole town, especially downtown area. You haven't changed your profession, and you adjusted well to the new situation, but crisis or this global change. It was like a restart button. We started recreating ourselves, reinventing, rethinking, reevaluating. So I would love to ask you, what is actually what is new in that sameness?
Yeah. I did have a lot of time to think. And I personally may change more time for hobbies, especially too. But I think my husband and I are in business together. So I think our plans shift, and we've talked about different businesses and avenues and goals. And instead of pulling back on our goals, we've accelerated our goals. We're like, why wait? Let's do this. Let's let this happen. Let's talk about ideas. I have other ideas for business. I don't know when I'll have time to actually work on them, but I definitely have some e-commerce ideas that I'd love to do. My husband wants to get into purchasing commercial real estate, which I thought, okay, we're 5 years out. Now he's like, okay, I think we can do this in the next 6 months, which for most people, I don't know. It doesn't scare me for some reason. It doesn't scare me at all. Some people would get scared. For me, I'm like, why not? Like, today is today. Let's do this.
Let's play big.
There's no point waiting anymore for me. I think, just go after what you want. That's kind of my motto. There's like, why pull back? Let's just do this. And I think it's been exciting. This year was a year for transition for us anyways, because my husband left his full-time government job to be self-employed. So 2020 for the start of us was a change and transition year. We moved into a condo, rented out our house. He was leaving a government job that's secure, being self-employed. And then COVID hit. It's the most interesting year. It's the year that you would think we might fall apart financially and marriage-wise. And it did the opposite. We made new goals. We want to go faster. Let's do this. Let's work together. And so far, it's been good. And then obviously, I think my husband and I, instead of traveling, we do love to travel. We're not getting on a plane anytime soon, unfortunately. We've talked about getting an RV and exploring the island and just spending more time where we live, because it is beautiful. I do enjoy the island. Some of my favorite places are Tofino and Hornby. I love the Gulf Islands. We went to Salt Spring, and we just want to kind of explore our island more, which is, it's nice. I'm glad that we can spend our money locally and support those local businesses instead of us just taking off and going to Mexico for 2 weeks or something like that. It's a big change for 2020, but I think as much as the world is a little scary right now, I'm actually kind of excited for our goals, our personal goals and changes that we've made.
And now when we said a lot nice things about Victoria, in a sense, we can ask people to join us. And you as a real estate agent, what would you recommend? What are the areas they should,
Explore?
explore or even think about buying? Can you say just a few things, just recommendation for someone who's not from here, who doesn't know anything about community and small towns? Just use some time to.
So my favorite areas are all around the little villages. So Cook Street Village, I love Cook Street Village. Cook Street Village, you've got Beacon Hill Park, which is a beautiful park. Right along the ocean, you have this big walking 10K walking path. I have dogs. They have an off-leash dog park. It's huge. The homes are all like character homes mixed in with new. That's one of my favorite neighborhoods is Fairfield. I love the vibe there. Everyone's really friendly. You can walk to your pubs and restaurants. Everything's right there. I love when you can walk and have a community around walking. And then you have Oak Bay Village, same thing. My office is in Oak Bay. I grew up in Oak Bay. I love Oak Bay Village. And they have Estevan Village, so it's kind of a best of two worlds. You could live between Oak Bay Village and Estevan Village and be able to walk to 2 or 3 beaches. It is stunning down there. It's a great community. It's safe. And then Fernwood too, it's funky community. I actually went to Vic High for 1.5 years, so I spent a lot of time in Fernwood Village as a teenager. I love that area too. It's the old character homes are so neat. Great wine bar and pub again. Great community. That is a friendly community, and it's right near downtown.
It's artistic.
Downtown core.
It's artistic. There is a theater, a lot of yoga clubs. Yes.
And plays. So I feel like there's so many good areas. Those are probably my 3 favorite because you're around all the villages. I like that vibe. I live right now currently in Songhees in Vic West. I tend to walk downtown, but I like the community as well. Like I love the walking paths. I love that I can jump on the goose. I love that I can walk to a grocery store. So for me, I love when I can just walk somewhere and I don't need a car. Maybe I'm a little European. I wish I lived in Europe.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing, and I hope to see you soon.
Yes, thank you, Natasha. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed talking with you.